All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am excited, very excited to be here. You've already heard, my name is Adria Kimbrough, and I'm at Dillard University. I guess I need to stay here. Can you hear me? If I move around, can you hear me? Can you hear me in the back? Yes. All right. So, in addition to being an attorney, I'm at Dillard University as a pre-law advisor. Before we get into our time together, I want to see who's in the room. I've already heard some of the women from Spelman College. Who else is here?
There's some Clark people in this room. There should be. They're right here. Oh, Benny.
Bethune-Cookman. I hear you. Okay, who else is here? FAM is here. Hampton. Prairie View. UAPB. Who else is here? Virginia State, Edward Waters. Tennessee State. Tuskegee. Who else? Florida State. All right.
Roll Tide. Come on.
This is an open table. So we got HBCUs and non-HBCUs. Any other HBCUs that I didn't hear? All right. So we got a good. Oh, I'm sorry. We got someone up here. Who are you with? We got St. Aug right here. Yes. St. Aug and Howard. Awesome, awesome. Well, I just have to say, I'm excited to be here because I love HBCUs. Like, HBCUs are my jam. HBCU pre-law students are my jam. So I came up, when I was deciding where I was going to go to school, it was in the heyday of a different world. And I just knew that I was going to Hillman, even though Hillman was not a thing, not a real school, but in my mind, I was going to be there with Denise and Dwayne and all of them. So I love this. And the thing that I like about HBCUs and the space is that it's just affirming. Isn't it affirming to be in this space? Everybody has the same goal, striving for the same thing. But don't be confused by all of the melanin in this room, right? The practice of law, and you probably heard this, I wasn't here yesterday, so I missed some of those nuggets, but the practice of law continues to be the least diverse profession. It is the least, more than medicine, engineering, because you think, well, maybe there are not a whole lot of black doctors. The law is the least diverse profession. So it is important that you all are here and that you affirm one another in terms of exactly what you want to do. So I'm just excited to be here. So as I mentioned, let's see if I can make this work. Okay, let me go back. All right, we got it going now. All right, so I have the privilege to wake up every day and work at an HBCU with HBCU pre-law students at Dillard University. It's just exciting times to be there. In addition to this summit that is funded by Access Lex, they're also funding a lot of the work that we are doing. We've got a mock trial team who's nationally ranked, one of only 2 HBCUs in the nation. The other is Howard. And just this year, we won the American Bar Association's Leadership and Diversity Award. So we're very excited about kinds of things that are happening. So, but this is where it started. Does that face look familiar? A little bit? That's me. That's me. So, I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. Where? Okay, all right. So, and that's just a huge part of who I am, being from Mobile, Alabama. And so this is where it starts. And I grew up in a community, maybe like a lot of y'all. If you're a kid, like, so that little girl there, she looks sweet, but she looks a little, maybe mischievous, a little bit. And so I grew up in a community, if there was a child that talked a lot or liked to go back and forth and ask a lot of questions of parents, some old person would say, you ought to be a lawyer. Use that mouth and make some money and be a lawyer. And so I heard that a lot as a kid. And so that's what I decided that I wanted to do. And so I went on. So I'm a graduate of Talladega College. And there's nobody here. And listen, though, I say that for a reason. So what I want you to know is that if you're at an HBCU and it is not Howard, Hampton, Spelman, or Morehouse, and those are wonderful institutions, but I think sometimes if you're at a smaller school, you feel like, dang, we're not getting no shine, nobody's gonna pay, I don't know, I'm gonna get to law school. I haven't really seen a lot of people from my institution go on and do the kinds of things that I want to do. You absolutely can do it. You absolutely can do it. So here I am, y'all see I had a good time in college. I was involved a lot, but I went on to law school. And so I graduated from Talladega College, and Rachel Patterson, who spoke to you this morning, talked about these fee waivers that you can get, right? Like these schools, if they see your score, then they will send you a fee waiver. And so I got a fee waiver from several schools, one of which was the University of Cincinnati. And I ended up attending there, got a full tuition scholarship to go there. Yeah, you can clap for that. You can clap. I see you, the silent clap. You can clap for that. I say that too, y'all, because sometimes we will tell ourselves and sell ourselves short in terms of what is possible. I was able to do that. That was not the only school I got a full tuition scholarship from. So, and I say that not as a point of bragging, but just to let you know what is possible. Went on from University of Cincinnati. Now, so y'all see all those faces up there? You probably can hardly, I'm somewhere like, I'm on the second row. You see me? You see me? Yeah, that's me. That's me. So there are not a lot of black people in the picture, no? So now these are the black people. This is the class. These are the black people. We had 14 of us in our class.
That was a lot.
It was a lot.
There were 7 in mine.
Now, does that seem like a lot to you? No, because y'all, you're in the yard, everybody's black, right? Or mostly, more or less. It was a lot. In fact, that was the largest number of African-American students the school had ever had, that particular year. It was a record year. The American Bar Association had just come and done a review, and diversity was one of the things the school got dinged on. And so there was an effort to diversify, and so I reaped the benefits of that, and then there were 14 of us. Well, thanks be to God, 13 of us finished. So we started with 14 and ended with 13. We had made a pact. We called ourselves the Cincinnati 14, and we had made a pact that we were going to make our way through. And we did. And so from there, I went on. This is a blur. So I'm originally from Alabama. This is this cake that my parents got with my picture on it when I passed the Alabama bar because they were just so excited. Went on to take the Alabama bar, the Georgia bar, the Arkansas bar, and now the Louisiana bar, passed all on the first examination. Okay. Again, not to brag, but just to know, let's go back. That girl right there, Mobile, Alabama, went to a college most people have not heard of. You can do it, okay? So, had an opportunity to have a very rewarding career, both in private practice and in the university setting. So, the lady here shouted out Albany State. I know it's Albany, not Albany, Albany State, because I worked there as a university attorney. University of Arkansas system as an associate general counsel, and a couple of firms in labor and employment. And so I've had a lot of fun. I'm going to come back to this. So you may have this notion of what success is going to look like for you, but it's not always a straight shot. The path that I've had has been twists and turns along the way. So if you're feeling in this moment like maybe it's just a little crooked right now, that doesn't mean that you won't end up exactly where you need to be. So in addition to the practice, I've had the benefit of being engaged and mentoring just a lot of people along the way. So this is actually an Albany State graduate and just different students that I've had a chance to see make it through law school graduation. And so now I get the benefit of doing that every day. God has blessed me infinitely to be able to do that and work with young people like you. All right, so with the time that I have left, because I'm going to stay within my time frame, with the time that I have left, I want to talk to you about cake baking. And you may say, what on earth does law school have to do with cake baking? Well, I will tell you. So we're all family now, right? Because I know where you're from. I'm at a different HBCU, but we all in the HBCU family together. So I'm going to talk to you straight like I talk to the students that I work with every day. Is that all right? Is that all right? Yes. Okay, all right. So putting together a law school application, being a competitive law school applicant is a little like cake baking. I have this picture here. So that's my wedding day. So fast forward past law school, all of this, professional stuff, got married. Y'all, I couldn't cook, I couldn't boil water. Do you hear me? My grandmother said, girl, you're not gonna find no husband if you can't cook. I'm like, oh, I'm charming, I got other qualities. Hopefully somebody might be interested in, marrying me. So I did, couldn't cook anything, right? I decided I wanted to start baking, though, as a challenge to my dad, who would tease me about the fact that I couldn't cook. There were lots and lots of disasters. Fast forward, oh, look at that. It looks good, doesn't it? It's a pound cake. I made it 2 weeks ago, right? So I started off, couldn't boil any water. I had to kind of work up, trial and error. But I've been able to develop a little knack for baking. So I don't mean box cakes either. So no harm to the Duncan Hines, Betty Crocker folks, but I mean a real cake. So the first cake I made, it called for sifted flour. Does anybody in here bake? Any of y'all bake? Do you know what sifted flour is? What is it? Tell me what it is. Yeah. I didn't know what that was. So it said sifted flour, and I was like, well, I got flour. That's like, maybe if I just stir it around. See, you shaking your head like, no, that's not going to work. No, it didn't work. My cake came out looking like cornbread. It did. I was so disappointed. I may have been married a year. I was going to make this cake that my mother-in-law makes. It came out like cornbread. So there are two things that I found that are most important in baking cakes. The first is that you have to have the right ingredients. The second is you need a good recipe and follow it. All right? So number one, having the right ingredients. So that means not expired, room temperature, because if you got the wrong ingredients, you can have the right technique, your cake is going to come out bad, okay? So Rachel Patterson talked to you all this morning, for those of you who were here from Access Lex, talked about the ingredients that you need for your law school cake, right? So what do you think some of those things are, just based on what you heard? Like, what do you need to make that cake? So just shout it out, somebody. LSAT score, GPA. Okay, and then the other stuff, the letter of recommendation, those kinds of things. Now, I'm going to speak for the Dilla students because y'all may be different. I work with Dilla students every day. Hopefully, this is not the case for you. There's a whole lot of focus on things other than what is necessary for making the cake. A lot of focus. There are people that will tell you about this holistic review. You probably heard that a couple times, right? Like it's going to be a holistic review. We're going to look at all these aspects of your application. I'm going to tell you what I know, and I'm going to tell you the truth. It's the GPA and LSAT, y'all. It is. The shutout rate for African-American students trying to get into law school is higher than any other group of people. And the reason why is that LSAT. It's that test, y'all. It is. I mean, there are other things too, don't get me wrong. But I would submit to you that that should be the primary focus of your preparation. All right? So I think Rachel talked about going it alone, self-study, right? I did that. It kind of worked itself out, but I didn't know any better. I did what I could. Y'all know better, right? Because you're here. How many people are going to take an LSAT class? Everybody in here's hands needs to be up right now, like 2 hands. Do not try this alone. This is not that thing. It's not that thing. Like, I'm going to finesse it. I'm going to get these books. I'm going to flip through it. No, ma'am. No, sir. Do not do it. Do not do it. Have y'all heard of Khan Academy? Yes. Okay, so Khan Academy is a new thing, and it has the potential to be a game changer. But this is what I'll say, and I have not delved all the way into it, but I think you want to supplement it with something else, combine it with something else. All right? Now, how much do these classes cost? Anybody know? A lot of money. But you know what, y'all? Again, I'm talking about Dilla students. I may not be talking about y'all. People find money for what they want. How many people in here Greek? Raise your hand. Yeah. I am too. Look, go back. Y'all saw my picture? You saw my pinky? Okay, all right. On my campus, people beg, borrow, steal. When it's time to pledge, they say they want that money next week, and people get that money. Am I lying? Somebody in here right now, I'm still trying to pay this off because I had to use this money to pledge. And then once you pledge, it's still more money. You got to pay the dues, you got to go to the regional, you got to go to the training. It's expensive. I don't care what group you're in. Yes. So make it a priority. If this is really what you want to do, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Your presence here to me today suggests that you're ready, right? But it's more than that. It's more than that. Invest in yourself, okay? All right, real quick, because I'm realizing I'm about to go beyond my time. Let's skip ahead a little bit. So, notice in our cake analogy, and even in what Rachel talked about, she didn't really talk a whole lot about campus involvement. I didn't talk about it, at least. She may have mentioned it a little bit. But this is what I'll say. Going back to the second point about the cake, you got to get a good recipe. You got to make sure that you follow it. Here's the good news. Y'all already got the recipe, right? Just by being here. You are so blessed to be here to get the information that you received. And I just listened to Rachel's presentation. That pretty, if you didn't hear anything else, you got what she said, you follow that, you got the recipe, right? But you got to follow it. So it's what you do when you leave this place that matters. So now I showed my pound cake. See, that's when the cake goes bad. There's a lot of things that you can do to make your law school cake go bad too. This is my recipe, but it's pretty much in line with what Rachel shared with you before. This is an example. So this is at Albany State for the students who from there. That's the gym. It's an example of sacrifice. So this young woman went on to law school. She's practicing in Augusta. And she drove to Tallahassee 2-3 times a week for a class. Now tell me, students from Albany State, how far is Albany from Tallahassee? Hour and a half. So she drove hour and a half, back and forth, twice a week for the class because there was no class in Albany. So don't tell me you don't have the money. Don't tell me there's no class in your area. Make it work. Okay, what's this? Icing, frosting, all right? So my pound cake, I think if you got a good cake, you really don't even need frosting. Now, some people put a little icing, you know, the little glaze on the cake, but if you really got a good cake, you know, you can do without the frosting. But here's frosting just sitting on the plate. Is that appetizing? Is that something you might want to have? No, maybe my kids. I got kids at 9 and 12. They like to eat frosting. This to me represents a lot of the things that we get involved in on our campus. Now, at Dillard, maybe not anywhere else, a lot of the students who want to go to law school, they are heavily involved on campus. How many SGA people we got in here? Aha! How many Royal Court, Miss somebody, Miss Junior, Miss Senior, Miss University? Very good. These are wonderful things. The last 3 Miss Dillards have all been pre-law students. It's a thing. The type of people that want to go to law school are the type of people that want to just be involved in leaders on campus. And that's important. The problem is, that's the icing on the cake, right? But if you don't have cake, all you have is a plate full of icing, and nobody wants to eat that. So the issue is, for me, on our campuses, and I'm speaking about Dillard, but at HBCU campuses, sometimes we get so caught up in the things that are not going to yield you anything in the application. Half these people reading your files, they don't even know what Ms. Dillard is. They don't even know what it is. I'm just being honest. And I'm not taking anything away from it, because if you go all the way back to my campus pictures, I was on Royal Court. You see that picture in the middle? But you gotta keep it in perspective. I pledged, I was on Royal Court. You gotta keep it in perspective, all right? So if you don't hear anything else from me, please know, focus on the main things that are gonna help you make the cake. And my challenge to you is like to go and bake it. You got the recipe, you got the ingredients. Make sure you have some good ingredients and go out and do it. There are too many people who have invested, too many people who have sacrificed for you just to be even in these seats. But to sacrifice for you to be able to go on and pursue this dream. We need you. Somebody's waiting on you to get this law degree. Somebody's waiting on you to be able to offer them culturally relevant representation. We need y'all. Please leave here and follow the recipe. Go make your cake. It's gonna be good too. So that is all I have. I'm overextending my time, but thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be around today until probably about 3 o'clock. So if you see me and you want to talk to me, especially for those of you who don't have pre-law advisors on your campus, that was me. I'm happy to answer. You don't have to do it alone. Thank you.